Morning everybody, it's the 19th of July and it's the second round of the Short Pole League. I call it the Short Pole League because I don't want it to get mixed up with the Top Kit League at Sedges, but they're virtually the same rules. It's a 3-metre league. The difference with the Short Pole League is it's ran over several different venues, and today it's the second round. Technically it should have been the third, but the second round was cancelled due to oxygen issues and the weather and everything else, which you can sort of understand. We had it sort of over 30 degrees, didn't we? So this is the sort of second round really, and we're at Avalon fishery today, a fishery I've not been to for years, so really looking forward to it. I've heard there's been a lot of work down there on the banks and things. The margins used to be really deep, but apparently they're sort of fishable now, but I haven't heard that. Last night I just heard that the levels are down, so I got no idea what I'm walking into really. So we've chucked half a kilo of worm in the van. We've chucked some ground bait and micros, which is strictly for feed. The ground bait really is an edge mix. The micros might come in for in front, and 2 tins of meat, of course. I have no idea what I'm going to cut that meat into, like size wise, so I've not done that yet. I thought I'd do it on the bank. We'll have a good plumb around, decide where we're going to fish, how we're going to sort of go about it. It's a 6-hour match, so we've got plenty of time. Let's get down there, fingers crossed. Got several islands down the middle. It's a big old lake. It goes way down there, and it used to be, from what I remember, quite deep, which means it's actually a lot of water. That across there is probably about 60 metres, so it's not really wide, but it is long, and as I said, it used to be quite deep. Underwater aerators on, and here's the sort of peg we want today, to be honest. Some of those back there, as you've seen, were kind of back on the bank. What we really want is a pallet, because I feel with a pallet, look, you can get down those edges, get down these edges. We'll have a look at a couple more pegs, and we better get back up there for the draw. Get my kit out the van. That'll be rooty down there. Got a nice colour. I don't know if that's fish movement or those underwater aerators, to be honest. Could be either. That's lovely, isn't it? Oh, something like that. What's that? 12, that'll do. Look at that edge. Oh, that looks superb. I think there's going to be a bit riding on the draw here, edgewise. And there's some of the underwater aerators. They're very good. It's got 3 in a line there, look. And there's the end of the lake down there. Right, let's get up there and let's hope we're bungo. So we feed our left edge first. Is that where we're sort of gonna hoping to start and snare an early carp? I fancy that left hand edge being our best chance. So I put about 5 pieces of 6mm meat in there. Now we've gone and put 150mm of ground bait off to the right, just in case there's a carp silly enough to come into that sort of shallow water early. I'm doubtful, but you never know. The left hand edge, by the way, is considerably deeper. I've got about 2.5 foot to the left, and I've also got reeds. They're a little way away from me. They're actually all around the next peg down, both sides. But I do fancy one or two sneaking out those reeds and coming along our edge later. And then lastly, a little bit of 6mm meat out in front, keeping it quite positive. No micro or worm or anything else at the moment. Just 6mm meat, because I'm hoping to sort of try and pick off one or two quality fish early. With these matches and being 6 hours, you know, the old saying goes, you can put it in, but you can't take it out. Feel your way in. Same with any match, really. If I'm honest, it's, you know, too easy to just fill it in and mess your peg up too early. This will be a tough match. I do believe down the side we're fishing in this league match today that some people won't even catch a carp. If you're sat back and not out on a pallet that's sort of stilted out into the water and you haven't got the depth out in front of you, which we haven't in this peg, I think people will struggle. I've noticed already, we've managed to hook one down the edge, which is brilliant. But I've noticed already everywhere we put bait, we got a few bubbles coming up. I'm not sure that's all fish related. I do wonder if it's like the bottom, to be honest, bit of gas or something escaping. Um, but we hooked one down the edge. It was absolutely brilliant, exactly what we needed. Just got to land this now. And that's a great start. As I said, I do think some people will struggle, especially ones that aren't sort of sat out into the water. And the reason that is down this side, in the past 2, 3 years, I haven't been down here for longer than that, but in the past, they've done quite a bit of work down here. You can see my keep nets, how shallow they are in the water. And what they've done is shallowed all this side off. You used to sort of just fish straight off the edge, sort of deep, same as the other side still is. But this side, they've sort of done quite a bit of work. Now the water's actually low at the moment, probably 18 inches off of what it should be by the sort of marks and things I can see on pallets, etc. Which is why it looks so low. But it does mean that people sat back like myself, as we mentioned earlier, will be fishing in about 3 to 3.5 foot of water rather than on the main lake bed, which is about 5.5 foot deep. Which is I think is where the skimmers and that will want to be, to be honest. So we nip back down the edge again because we get nothing in front. We spend another sort of 8 minutes down the edge, really nice and quiet, but nothing happens. That doesn't really surprise me. I wasn't expecting another one. I mean, the first one was a bonus. The second one would be an absolute blooming miracle, really. But what I am worried about is the lack of bites out in front, because I did think we're going to need that for 2 or 3 hours. So in match situations like this, sometimes you have to make these sort of early mental notes. And something we have noticed is there's a match on the bank opposite us. Now that match is any method match. So they're fishing long poles, leads with bags on. They're pinging lots of pellets out long as well over the top of those leads. So they've started the match 90 minutes before we did. So there's every chance they've drawn the fish that are in the open water. They've sort of drawn quite a few of them. So they will finish 90 minutes before we finish. So that tells me that my best chance of catching another carp or another couple of carp is going to be in those last 90 minutes as we're fishing a 3 metre match. And then, as I said earlier about the pallets going out, another little thing, so I'm not going to get too disheartened with not, well, saying that, we've just hooked what feels like a skimmer in front. That's interesting because we actually just went on a rig that's not directly over our bait. We've actually got 3 rigs set up for this line. One that sits with a very short line right over the bait in case it's that sort of day, and lots of little dinky bites and strike and lifting and such into them. Then we got one that's about a foot 18 inches past the feed, if you like, and it just, where they dug it out, it steps off a little bit, about 3 inches there, so I had to put something up just past that. And then also I've got another one that's as long as the 3 meters is, that I can swing out the furthest I can, which we're on now actually, and sadly it doesn't budge. No more fish follow. Bit of a false dawn, but at least it's a skimmer. With a carp and a skimmer in the net, in all fairness, I think we're doing okay. Okay, so the match opposite is actually finished. We've cut quite a lot of time out. We've actually got 90 minutes left now to fish, and not surprisingly, we've hooked another one down the edge. So as we sort of thought, wasn't it? We sort of thought with that last 90 minutes, we'll, you know, less disturbance, no more bait going in. The kit we're using down the edge as well is our fairly standard kit. It's 0.20, really short fat carp, aren't they? 0.20 main line. I'm using an 018 hook length because I remember now how hard these things fight down here at Avalon. The fish you hook down the edge are absolute nightmare. All they want to do is try and get back into the edge. They really do fight hard. And they're not line shy either down here for whatever reason. So we're feeding ground bait down that right hand edge as well. And the rig for that, we're using quite a long line, and what we did is we used a clip-on plummet on the bottom of our bulk, all the bulk above the hook length, but the hook length is long. I've put on an 8-inch hook length, put on a clip-on plummet, made sure that bulk is just off the bottom, so therefore as I'm plumbing, the float just goes under the surface, because when I take that clip-on plummet off, of course, the float will pop back up off the surface. And the idea is I lay the rig in, and the 8 inches of line hangs down the shelf away from that bulk, So as fish, as they sneak in that shallow water, don't line it, but they grab those worms first and just take the float under. And the pole with a long line is right back nearly over the bank as well. But I just think they're going to see me, to be honest, as they come in. But I'm laying it in, hoping that one's going to come in. So back down that left-hand edge again. As we've said, this is really where we expect to catch our fish. And again, it's our fourth carp. No, although we're not catching loads of fish, I have to say I'm really enjoying it actually. Winkling out odd fish and having a good old think about what you're doing is quite enjoyable sometimes. I could do with another catching line though, so as I could rest that edge and go somewhere else. I'd love to have had a peg where I got sort of two margins really, but I don't think that's the case today. I'm not sure with that ground bait. I think if we do see one come in, by the time we get out there, it'll be long gone. I think you've got to be down that edge over that ground bait on the right before the fish arrives, if that sort of makes sense. Another nice fish. They're absolute lunatics. I can't express to you how hard these are pulling. They might not look it, but they really are pulling. Oh, I should let that fish run, shouldn't I? I should have let it run. I thought it was trying to get in the reeds, and I didn't let it run. I tried to hold it, and he's actually took me 18 hook length off. Unbelievable. As I was saying, they fight so hard. Oh, and I'm going to regret that. You can't afford to lose fish when it's this difficult. Oh, what a numpty. Absolute numpty. So anyway, back to that right hand edge again. You can see we've got a nice little bit of breeze coming sort of along now. I'm hoping that might turn one or two fish on. Sticking plenty of that ground bait in, trying to sort of colour the water up a little bit really. So we drop in over that ground bait to see if a carp comes in. And a greedy little perch snaffles our worms. Unbelievable, aren't they, little perch? I swear he's smaller than the two worms I had on. So with 30 minutes to go, that left edge just doesn't seem quite right now. All of a sudden, it just feels. I just don't feel like I'm going to get a late surge, if I'm honest. Um, I'll be surprised if I get another fish even. So we fill in the ground bait line again. Um, we put 3 pots down there actually this time. And the edges just don't feel right, so I started a new line. And what I did is dropped it on just a top kit in between my 2 keep nets. Sometimes those carp can come really close. Any fishery this can be on. And I've put a little bit of 8mm meat there, and we got one. Fed it quite. I put in like 250mm of micros, and then just thrown 8mm meat at it. And this can sometimes look like the end of a match, especially around your keep nets. Putting that bait in, that sort of volume of bait in, and that's worked for this fish anyway. And I think this puts us on 6 carp, which I think on the day would be okay. Still, we did lose one, didn't we? That was a bit silly, but no, 6 carp. And we got a couple of pound of silvers, I think. I think that'll be respectful today, as I say. 6 fish. I don't think we'll be winning it because I've heard the 2M pegs are bagging, and the ones with the pallets going out into the water have got sort of quite a few people who are admitting the sort of £10 of silvers, and I think that'll be the difference today. We haven't got anywhere near that of silvers. Those sort of early hours were very difficult for us, weren't they? But I've heard one of the M pegs has actually lost 20 carp. I can't believe that, but I'd have kept quiet about that if I was them. It's been enjoyable, very enjoyable day. Do stay and see the results. Thanks for watching.